The other thing humans have been good at, as the population grows and more people live in the cities, is the amount of waste we create, right? So several million tons, metric tons of garbage gets dumped over time, and there are garbage dumps on land, there are sewage sludges being released into the coastal oceans, and as we said before, when we believed dilution was the solution to pollution, the sewage sludge was being released very close to where the humans lived. Very soon it became clear that that was not a good idea. Nonetheless, the treatment processes themselves have been evolving over time. The sludge is basically something that is semi-solid, that is created after treatment. So it contains not just human waste, but oil, zinc, copper, lead, silver, mercury, pesticides, antibiotics, prescription drugs, and all sorts of other chemicals. Okay, so the primary treatments basically allow the solids to settle down and dewater, which means you separate the liquid part. In the secondary treatment, the sludge is exposed to bacteria killing chlorine, so you make it biologically inactive, so there is no biological oxygen demand by the sludge that you created, so that when you dump it, it doesn't start to make the waters hypoxic or anoxic and so on, right? You don't want that to happen. So the 1981 rule followed up on the Clean Water Act of 1972, which said no dumping of sludge in the ocean. Okay, obviously, as we said before, there is always ways to make exceptions and get waivers and so on. So there's some nice histories of big cities like New York and Boston or even Mumbai, where the sewage disposal is always a huge problem because you have millions of people living on the coast and producing all this waste on a daily basis. So at first there were shallow water sites, so you can see that the New York Bight sludge site, there was a New York alternative site here slightly away from the coast. Philadelphia's sludge site is here, and there is this big 106-mile site, which is important because you can see the topography here. Okay, you can see 40 meters, 200 meters, and 1,000 meters. So if you go out away from the shelf area into the deeper ocean, you not only put the sludge deep in the ocean, away from light and degradation, but also the currents tend to take it away from the coast into the open ocean. So we still rely on the open ocean as something that can dilute away our waste production. Okay, so the shallow water sites were moved to the deeper water sites, but they still were finding adverse effects on fish. So in 1993, they have been dumping a lot of the sewage on land. In New Jersey, of course, but nonetheless, rich people can get rid of their waste in innovative ways, right? Poor people tend to inherit a lot of the environmental problems in these ways. Okay, Boston Harbor sewage project cost many billions of dollars. So it was it created this huge tunnel to take the sludge away out into the deeper part of the ocean. You can see the map here. So it was ordered by the court to clean up the harbor where sewage was being dumped in very shallow water. But after the 1998 deep water tunnels, it's being taken out, and you can see the depth here again. It's how much is it? Over 100 meters deep. So it is still of some concern because there are lots of rich people living on Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod Bay, and so on. So these problems are, there is no way the waste production is going to be reduced anytime soon. and there is no way you can keep putting all the waste on land, right? There are mountains of waste on land sites. Like in Delhi, you can find a mountain of waste. So obviously you need to keep on finding solutions and tracking impacts on the environment, because it's not just smell, it's not just groundwater contamination, it's also all the chemicals that leach into everything and may even get into soil, affect the crops, of course the fish, and there is something called harmful algal blooms. When you release a lot of chemicals into the water, there are some algae that grow very fast and they are harmful to humans. They produce toxins that can give you temporary amnesia. They are neurotoxins. There are hepatotoxins which can damage your liver. There are toxins that get aerosolized, so even if you're walking on the beach you can inhale them and get them sick, and of course if you go into the water you can ingest them and get sick. So there are lots of these cascading effects. That's what we have to always worry about. It's not just what we see, it's what happens over time and the things that we cannot easily see. Okay, so this is not an easy problem to solve, and this is not something that's going to go away anytime soon, right?